Jesus. You're even battling over that.
I know. I just everything, man. It's like two fucking kids.
It is. I'm going to bash your heads together very, very soon.
Sorry, Dad.
He started it.
I did start it, and you followed up.
Stop! I've warned you both.
I'll turn this spaceship around. I swear.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome back to Shonky Lab. This is part 2 of us talking about spaceships and utter guff.
Yes.
I'm joined by Mr. Lee Medcalf.
Hello.
And Andy Poulastides.
Hello.
Good. Right. Okay, right. We're all back in the room again.
Yes.
One thing I've noticed on our little break that we've had, I wrote down the button ship on my notes. I've got one note, and I thought, button moon.
The one space. It's not actually eligible because while it is able to go to the moon, it is not interplanetary. So unfortunately, under our system, it wouldn't be eligible.
For your show.
Oh, okay.
But we're on the Shonky Lab.
Oh, in that case, it fits right in.
Yes, it does, yeah. I've just noticed...
Okay, Elton. Okay, so the button moon ship. So we're going to do this, yeah?
Yeah, right. we're doing the button moon ship.
Right, so size. What are you giving it for size?
Well, there's a mouse in it.
There's a mouse... Well, okay, we'll peek behind the curtain a little bit now. Now, with size on Space.Jury, you've got between 1 and 15 to choose from, right?
Okay.
Now, if a ship is scoring 15... let me just get this up so it's right. I think we're saying it's 50... there we go. Right. I have the matrix open here. So anything over 15 is over 100 kilometers in length, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're scoring a 10, you're about 1 kilometer. And then 0 to 9 are 100-meter increments. So whereabouts do you think the button moon ship's going to go?
Well, this is what I've just discovered about the button moon ship.
Mm-hmm.
The middle compartment of the ship is made of a baked bean can.
It's a baked bean can?
It's a baked bean. I've never noticed that. Not that I've ever watched it in the last 20 years.
I think we'll probably have to give that a 0, Lee. Would you say?
I'd say a 0.
All right, so that's a 0. Okay, so we'll give it a 0 for size. Now for speed.
Well, you say 0, but 0 would not exist. So there is some sort of mass there.
0 to 100.
I'm sure there's a deck.
Yeah, but 0 to 100 meters is 0. 100 meters to 200 meters is 1.
Ah, okay, but then yes, 0.
Yes. So speed. Now speed we break into 3 categories.
Yep.
Our first is sublight speed. So how long would you think it would take for the button moon ship to cross the solar system? Just roughly.
Well, the TV show aired in 1970 odd.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon it's still going now.
Okay, so I recommend we're probably going to assume it's going to take years to get there. So that's going to give you a 1 for sublight.
Okay, I'm on the board.
Now for FTL.
I'm on the board with button moon ship. I don't care.
It's not wibbly wobbly timey wimey.
No, you're not.
It's not instantaneous jumps. It's not limited instantaneous jumps. It's not jump gates. It's not warp. In fact, I don't think it has any FTL, does it?
Does it go faster than light? I don't think it does.
No, I don't think it does. Only due to the fact that one of their crews appeared to be a man with spoons for arms.
We'll come to that when we get to crew, but for the moment,
crew.
so for FTL we'll give it a 0. Now manoeuvrability. Now a chance to score back some points here. This is between 1 and 5. Now, if you're scoring 5, you're really manoeuvrable like a White Star or like a super manoeuvrable fighter. And if it's 1, a flying brick. Now, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I'm guessing we're talking a flying brick.
I reckon it's more manoeuvrable like a London cab.
That's still flying brick regions.
That's still a 1.
To be honest. Yeah.
Though, point of order.
Yes.
Just to bring this up, on the chat, Brian has said that button moon ship makes it to the moon from Earth in a couple of minutes, and that's bloody fast.
Oh, that is.
So we might have
to revise the sublight speed
2
to 2. Yeah, I'm happy to say that. Yeah, because as we know, space is big. No, it's really big. I mean, you might think going down to your shops is a long way, but that's nothing compared to space. So we'll give it 2 for sublight.
Okay.
Now, firepower. There you go. Right. Now, again, we have a range of 15 here. If you're storing a 15 for firepower, you have the ability to destroy stars and entire solar systems with a single shot. At 10, you can destroy a capital ship with a single shot. At 1, you have like armed support craft like Starbug. So where do we think the button moon ship's going to come on firepower?
Well, okay, I have been thinking about this, and I think all the firepower would probably come from one of their crewmates. You have the family of Mr. Spoon and his wife, and their daughter and son, who is an egg, I think. Okay. And I do believe...
Was the milkman also an egg? A chicken, perhaps? I'm just saying, there's a conversation to be had there.
The boy here, I do believe he has bouts of Tourette's, and so that could be classed as the firepower.
Unfortunately, no, because I think that's more of a marine compliment, if you will. So again, that comes under crew. So I think we're going to have to give it 0 for firepower, I'm afraid.
Nuts. I was going for a 2, at least.
Oh, no, you see, a 2, you're talking fighters, things like X-Wings and so forth.
An X-Wing versus the button moon ship.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
I think it probably just run it over. Back on the chat.
Yes.
Jim's decided to wade in, and he says actually the button moon ship doesn't just travel from the Earth to the moon; it's traveling from the junk planet across the blanket sky to button moon.
Well, can Jim give me the distances involved here? I mean, come on now! I need some facts. I need statistics. Damn it! Well, how many miles is this?
He said that's 238,900 miles.
Oh, that's to our moon. And Jim's saying it's a different planet altogether. I mean, give me stuff to work with here, people. Anyway, we'll come back to that. We'll keep this moving.
Yeah, and Doreen thinks that the button moon ship has the ability to fire cold baked beans.
Well, no, it's empty because they're living inside it. So where's it storing the ammo? Think about this, people.
In the funnel on top.
Unless you can show me some on-screen evidence, I'm afraid we're going to have to assume it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Is that a roll of sellotape for the boosters? I'm not too sure.
We're on to defence now. Defence. Now, defence is split into 3 categories: active, passive, and special. Now, active defence, if it's a very manoeuvrable ship, can move out of the way of bullets or anything like that, or if it has like point defence weapons. Does it have any kind of active defence at all?
It can run away, and if that bottom roll is a roll of sellotape, then maybe it could put the sellotape screen up, which it is very famous for.
Is it?
Or maybe Mr. Spoon could throw one of his wellies out.
He throws welly out, is he?
As a diversionary tactic.
You might be able to plead that under special, which we'll come to in a minute. But
very special.
I think we're going to have to give it a 0 for active defence. Now, passive defence...
hold on.
Yeah?
Hold on. Point from the Mixler chat.
Yes?
Just pointed out that Mr. Spoon helps with a pair of scissors, which have accidentally at times cut the thread holding button moon to the blanket sky.
Wow, ooh, that could almost be planet destroying, couldn't it?
That's almost planet destroying. I think that's pretty fucking hefty, actually.
I'll tell you what, then. I'll tell you what. We'll give that a 15. No, 14. We're 14. That's one shot destroying a planet. That is. So 14 for 5. 15 points now, Elton. See?
No, 17.
17.
17 points. I'm keeping the track of it.
You're giving it? Oh, so 17. Well, you're doing all right. You're doing better than the X-Bomber.
That's good enough for me.
I wish you were, but that's just not true, unfortunately. That thing won't die. But anyway, so passive defense. Now 5 is if you have perfect shields. You just can't get through those things at all.
Sellotape.
3 is shit shields. 0 is tinfoil, effectively. I'm leaning towards tinfoil, if I'm honest.
Well, it is a baked bean can.
Well, it's a little bit more than tinfoil, but 1 is low-level armour. I don't think you can really argue that a baked bean can is armour.
It's corrugated.
Lee, give me a ruling here. What do you think?
I reckon you could argue baked bean cans as armour.
Yeah.
How effective you get it, I don't know. I'd give it a 1.
All right, we'll give you the 1. We'll give you the 1 for a passive defense. Now we're into special, so this is where your sellotape shields could come in.
Okay.
Has it got anything like a cloaking device or regeneration or wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff that, potentially, could help you in a jam?
If the man who's holding the string, which is holding the button moon ship, passes in between the ship and the light that is shining on it, it disappears into his shadow.
Cloaking device.
Oh, that's easily worth a 1.
Yeah, you go.
There you go. So we'll give you 1 for special. Right.
Look at me, I'm on fire with button moons.
Right. So now, realization, okay? How well realized is the exterior of the button moon ship?
How well?
Wait, it's made of kitchen material.
It is somewhat made of kitchen material, but you could
I'm going
argue
for a
that is
10.
the point. Unfortunately, it's only out of 5 for the exterior. You can have it at 1 to 5.
5, just to give you an idea, 5 is top of the line Star Wars special effects. Number 1 is basically...
I think number 1 actually is a couple of baked bean cans and a funnel stuck together.
It is the spaceship from Star Crash. I mean, you know, it is Blue Peter, Tracy Island.
I'd be happy with a 3.
I'm sure you would be happy with a 3, but it's not happening. I'm going to give you 1 for exterior realization, I'm afraid.
I'll give it 1 just for holding together.
Nowadays, it would be made with Tipex bottles as well, but unfortunately, Tipex wasn't
It was
made.
in the 70s, so you're stuck with what you're stuck with.
Yeah, though Brian has pointed out, no offense to Elton, but this is sounding like a special edition of Space Dock Jury. And forget the. And Jack Woodgate would like to ask: can we see where the bridge is?
Oh, we're getting to that because now we're up to interior realization. You see, now I've got to say this does suffer a little bit from TARDIS syndrome. It does appear to be bigger on the inside, and there's not a huge amount of correlation between what you see inside the ship and the outside. So I'm probably going to have to give it 1 again here for the interior realization, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'm afraid I agree. It's not great.
But it's clean inside. The baked bean tin has been cleaned. There are no burrs on the hole that has been cut for Mr. Spoon to put his head out of. So he's in no danger of hurting himself whatsoever.
That's why we're giving you the 1.
Yeah, just be glad we're giving you the 1.
Yeah, we could give you nothing. Now here's a chance for you to really score some points, though, Elton.
Okay.
Be on your mind. Now we come to the science. How well does the science stack up?
Okay.
For button moon ship. Now, if it's scoring a 5, we call it Tyson-proof. In that Neil deGrasse Tyson himself, the biggest troll.
I'll stop you there.
Science fiction.
I'll stop you there.
Yeah.
I'm going for 5.
Yeah. No. Let's hear the reasoning. Come on, come at me, Elton. Come at me.
Oh God.
Come on, you can't just say the number. You got to defend it.
How do I turn this mic off?
I don't know, but all I know is I took
trying for 5 episodes. It can't.
I took some Solpadeine earlier on, and I think it may have gone off because this conversation I can hear in my ears it just sounds very surreal.
You wait until we get to crew.
That's coming up after this, Elton. Come on, what are you going for science? How well does the science stack up for the button moon ship? And in the audience, please, in Mixler, how well do you think the science matches up in the button moon ship?
I think it flies just as well as a baked bean can with a funnel and a roll of sellotape on its bottom would. And I think it's how you would... If Neil deGrasse Tyson had a baked bean can, put a funnel on the top, and built this with his children, it would fly exactly how it does on the show.
I'll tell you what, right? I'm going to give you 1, and do you know why I'm going to give you the 1?
Because
To make this go faster?
No, it's because that's what we gave the X-Bomber, and the effects in Button Moon are better than the effects in Starfleet.
Yeah, that's true. That is very
true.
So
you can have your 1 for that. Because, yeah.
This is close to actually appearing on our wall.
This is kind of disturbing. Well, we're up to crew now. So, now for crew, we split it into 2 categories.
Right, I'm going to
The first one is how many crew members you have. Now, at 10, you have 20,000 plus. And then you go all the way down to, at 5, you've got 250 to 1,000 crew members, and 1 is between 1 and 5. So whereabouts on that scale would you like to go for Button Moon?
Well, I've just put a picture in the chat of what I am classing as the crew. Now, bearing in mind, this crew does...
It's still better than Starfleet.
Wait. We're getting there. It does have a man with wooden spoons for arms and welly boots on.
Yeah.
That is the dad. There is a daughter made of a shampoo bottle, I think. A mum made of a toilet brush. with also spoons for arms. And
are you judging her? Because that sounded very judgmental.
Get this. There is a teddy bear with a wand. There's a teddy bear in red dungarees, I do believe.
Now,
the choice of spaceflight.
I'm hoping Jim and Brian will back me up on this, but I believe only 3 of those are actually crew members of the Button Moon ship. The others are actually inhabitants of the moon.
Well, I'm afraid if you go to the right-hand side of the picture, and you can see a man made from a milk bottle carton, and he has a little son. I do believe the son once appeared on the ship itself.
But passengers do not count as crew. We've recently had this discussion that you've got to be actually part of the crew, not just a passenger. So,
by the way, can I ask a question?
Of course.
The son of the milk bottle man.
Yes.
Is he Mummy's special toy that the kids aren't allowed to play with?
Well, I have a picture of him right here. Hang on, let me just...
oh dear God, please let us not be in situ.
Hang on, and Summers.
Omega Craft again.
Jim says he believes the chaps are Captain Large and the Bottle Army who live on Button Moon. So,
see, in the picture that I've put in the chat, you do have the sun, and he does have a red bobble hat.
That's an egg. That's completely different to the.
He is an egg and an egg cup, and you can see interior there.
You can see exterior.
Amazing.
We were very generous with that one, as you can see.
Oh, give over! Look at it. It's amazing.
Right.
But it really doesn't fit inside the other ship.
Shush.
Because look, if you look at Mr. Spoon.
Wait. Are you saying, Lee? Are you saying that Mr. Spoon is a Time Lord?
I'm saying that this may not be the most well thought out spaceship ever created. I'll be honest.
I've just noticed that Mr. Spoon's hat is an actual plastic bowl turned over on its head. I've never noticed that.
So
okay. All right, getting back to the scoring. So, so how many crew members? So, I'm saying you got 4 at most. 4 at most.
Yeah.
So that's a 1. You got 1 for crew number. Right. Now you come to crew competency, and strangely enough, I somehow think you might score well here. How competent are the crew of a Button Moon spaceship?
I think they are very competent. What is the scale of?
Right, the scale is between 1 and 5. At
right.
5. And I think we need to change this as well. But 5, as it currently stands, is your legendary Starfleet crew. You know, they can do no wrong.
Okay, right.
And you go all the way down to 0, which is the crew of a Red Dwarf.
I'm going for 4 because they always get to Button Moon.
You know what? I'm going to give you that 4 for that very reason.
Thank you very much.
Firstly, they make it to Button Moon in that thing. And secondly, they managed to fly a baked bean can, a smaller can, and a funnel to Button Moon. I mean, that alone. That's
and back.
Yeah, and they make. I mean, let's face it, getting there's only half a story, you know. So
okay, so now we're coolness.
Right, we're cool factor. Now me, Lee, and yourself get to take part in here. So what happens now is you have 4 points to award it for how cool you think it is, and me and Lee each have 3, and this tots up to a total of 10. So Elton, how cool do you think the Button Moon ship is out of 1 to 4?
1 to 4. Okay, I would go a 2.
You're only giving it 2. You can give it all 4 of your points if you want. I mean, because it adds up to 10 in total. So
I'm happy with myself going for a 2 because it hasn't got an orange cone or funnel on the top. It has gone for the white one.
Right.
Also, but it is a Heinz baked bean can.
It does have the label on there.
Yes, and which I never noticed before. And Heinz are pretty much the best. So they are flying in good stuff. So I'd say I'm going for a 2. I'm pretty confident I will get my 2.
Oh no, you have your 2. You can award it as many as you want. You get those points.
No, we won't argue with you about it. That's
okay. I'm happy with
subjective thing.
I'm happy with 2.
You're happy with 2. So Lee, how many points would you like to award it?
Fuck all. But I've got to give it 1.
You've got to give it at least 1, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm giving it 1.
Does have go faster stripes.
It does. Now, I would, if possible, like to take points away from it for bringing this in, but I can't, as you mentioned. So I too will have to give it 1. I'll give it 1 point.
Sweet.
So we don't have Peter here to make sure it's right.
I have been totting up the scores, and
Totting up the scores.
It's terrifying. Actually, I think we might need to go away and think these scores up again.
So we're going to have to do another revision here. So the Button Moonship, what did it score?
Well, at the moment, Thunderbird 3 is at the bottom of our table at the moment with 32 points.
Right.
The Button Moonship has 31. Frankly,
if I'd gone for 4, I would have beaten it.
If you'd gone for 4, you would have beaten the Thunderbird 3 and the Eagle Transporter.
Which were both lead ships.
Which are both my ships have been beaten by an inadmissible Button Moon tin can with a fun at the fucking top.
Well, yeah. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Button Moon ship. It's only 2 points less good than Thunderbird 3. You heard it here first.
If it had actually made it onto the board, I think you'd have to revise everything.
Oh no!
I won't tell you where on the scoreboard now Thunderbird 3 and the Eagle Transporter currently sit, because that would give it away for an episode that's coming up. But suffice to say, we've got a few ships in front of it now.
1 or 2, yes.
1 or 2. Oh God, I'm actually going to make a note of that on our spreadsheet.
I think. Well, yeah. I think we probably should have an honourable mention there.
Yeah, 31 points. Fuck my boots.
Well, to be fair, I mean, a lot of that did hinge on its planet-destroying capabilities. So, I mean,
yeah, curse you, Jim.
Yes.
Wherever you are now, I'm cursing you because
hell's heart we stab at thee.
Because he managed to give it 14 points straight out of the gate just with a pair of fucking scissors.
Thank you, Jim.
Jesus Christ. Oh, that's the end of that podcast. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah. So, what have you guys eaten on the train, or seen people eating on the train? Andy, shall I tell you where I've got this idea from first?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Well, I was reminded. Amanda bought some Viennetta the other day, and I don't like ice cream, so I don't end up having my share or anything like that. So the kids were sitting there eating it, and they get all excited when they find out that Viennetta's in the house, and oh my God, we gotta have some of that. End up cutting it, and it reminded me, 1995. I was off. I was travelling to my first concert ever. I was going to go see Blur at Wembley Arena, and I was with Amanda and 7 or 8 other friends. And we got to Woolwich Arsenal Station, and was it Woolwich Arsenal Station? I might not even been there, but I know. Yeah, we got up to Woolwich Arsenal, and then we had to go somewhere. We went up to London, and we ended up getting a KFC. And we bought a massive thing because there was 6 or 7 of us. We got the buckets and stuff like that, and it was at the time where you got your free big 2-litre bottle of Pepsi or whatever it was. And for some bizarre reason, you ended up with a Viennetta.
As you do.
Exactly. And us lot not being wanting to waste any food, we took the Viennetta. And there was 7, maybe 6 or 7 people with these KFC spoons and forks and stuff like that, carefully cutting Viennetta on a train.
Is this where your erotic love of the Viennettas come in? Because I have to say, I do have a recollection of you getting quite excited about Viennetta and cracking the chocolate on the top.
I don't like Viennetta. I don't like ice cream.
What? What are you? Some kind of monster?
No, I don't.
He's a pod person. He's a pod person.
No, I don't do ice cream. I don't do jelly or ice cream. I was the saddest kid at parties.
Yeah.
Explains
a lot.
Yeah, might do. So I didn't actually partake in this, but I was part of the group that had the KFC and all the drinks and stuff like that, and eating your baked beans out of your little pot. And, once you got rid of all the baked bean juice, then the people attacked the Viennetta. So, yeah, bonkers.
Oh, right. Wow. I just... Eating baked beans out of a pot is wrong, though, isn't it? I mean, seriously. Let me guess, were they cold?
I don't mind cold baked beans. I've got no problems in that at all. I can eat them straight from the can. Mr. Butter Moon can, actually.
Yeah.
No, let's not go back there.
No, let's not do that. Hold on. So, I mean, because, like, eating cold baked beans out of a can... Oh, Carol's going, I do that. Oh, that's nice.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. So you're both sick. What's that prove? Proves nothing.
No. What you do is you open your can, just before you're about to pour it into the saucepan, you grab your fork, take a little scoop. Just to make sure, they're all right.
And what if they're not all right?
Yeah.
Take another scoop, make sure that one's all right. Oh, it's all right. You're still going to eat it. You're still going to heat it up and eat it.
It's like cold custard. There's no point in that either. I don't get it.
Oh, God, no.
Well, exactly. Oh, Frog Stomper, who's on there now, says, not bad for a baked bean can. I eat baked beans out of a can.
There you go.
I should see.
And there's a Lee Medcalf on the chat says, Thunderbird 3 got 32, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah, well, there you go.
To which all I can say is, well, thank God for that cloaking device it had.
Yeah, shut up. Don't start that.
Okay, so anyone in the chat room, do you eat baked beans out of a can? Or have you?
I can't stand baked beans.
What's the point in eating baked beans out of a can? I don't get it.
No, you wouldn't have a meal like that. Well, look, have you never gone on like a survival camping trip where you have to cook your baked beans?
Oh, Jim eats baked beans out of a can. Of
there
course.
You go.
This just proves that there's clearly a Venn diagram with these kind of people who eat baked beans out of a can and right-minded thinking people.
I just like how Elton seems to equate Bear Grylls' survival and cans of baked beans. I don't think you find them growing wild in the forest.
Yeah. Now listen, I'm gonna bring this baked bean tin down. Oh my God, Doreen's now saying she doesn't eat baked beans out of a can, but she does like cold custard.
Jack says,
"What's wrong with you people?"
Jack says, "I once had a girlfriend who told me off for eating peanut butter out of the jar."
Oh no! See, now she's wrong. That's just wrong.
Well, yeah, I hope you kicked her to the curb.
Yeah, well, obviously, once had a girlfriend. See, Jack made the right decision there. Especially if it's crusty, chippy bits of peanut in there. You can get out the crunchy peanut. Oh, lovely.
Anyway, we're talking about food on the train.
Oh, right.
Are you the man that has egg sandwiches on there?
No. I tell you, I've a lot of times when I've eaten stuff on the train, because normally one of my old pet hates when I used to work at Cartoon and I had my Cartoon Beardy Twitter account was that there would be people eating the most disgusting shit on my train into work. And I never really felt very, very... I always felt queasy going into work because I'd always have to walk past Chinatown and cold... The smell of cold Chinese at 8 o'clock in the morning was never really a particularly appetizing thing anyway. So going from a train full of people eating prawn sandwiches or whatever at fucking 8 o'clock in the morning would just drive me nuts. But I have been known to eat some strange stuff on the train on the way home, which is basically because normally when I'm doing that, I'm usually pretty drunk. Mm-hmm. But on the one time I wasn't, I was working at Cartoon really, really, really late. And basically me and this other artist who were working on this project really late, and we decided to get a pizza. And I sort of got the pizza and we ordered it, and it was from Pizza Express from around the corner. And by the time it was ready and delivered, because it was stupidly late and they were shutting up and what have you, by the time it got delivered, we'd actually finished the job and I was going home. And I'm like, well, I'm not wasting this. No way am I wasting this. So I had the big old box of pizza, a 12-inch pizza. And it was a Diavolo pizza. And I carried it all the way to the train station. And I sat on the train and I sort of opened up the box. I'm like, I'm so hungry. I know it's going to be not as hot as it could have been. It's going to be a bit cold. because I've been walking back to the station with this thing under my arm. I opened it up. It was all stuck to the interior of the box, first off, because I've obviously been walking around and it's all melted cheese and stuck to the interior of the box. So I've literally ripped this thing in half. And then on top of that, I'm picking all the cheese off the top of the box. But not only that, I suddenly realised that unlike Pizza Hut pizzas, Pizza Express don't actually cut their pizzas up into slices. So I literally had to eat this thing without cutlery, without it being sliced up into pizza slices on the train out of the box. And I got it and I was so hungry at like fucking 1 o'clock in the morning. I literally took this pizza and I folded it into a quarter.
Oh, God.
And so I had this massive, like, sort of 5-inch thick pizza sandwich.
You didn't go from crust to crust, like one big slice?
No. I just literally, because it'd already been torn to pieces, so I literally just folded it in half, then folded it in half again, so it looked like one big double thick pizza slice, and I just ate it like that on the train.
Shoved it in your face.
Shoved it in my face.
Jeez.
Yeah. It was lovely, though, and it was a Diavolo, so it's really spicy, super hot.
Mm.
Yeah, and obviously I got a double hit of that as well. So all my eyes were watering. I've got my mouth on fire. I'm sitting there on a train with a pizza as thick as a hamburger,
Nice.
folded into quarters, just stuffed in my face. So that was one of them. I've got a list, but I'll leave them because I don't want to just leave it all down, because the other ones are when I was drunk. But there you go. So I'll leave that one. I'll let Andy go next.
Yeah, go on, Andy. Have you got anything?
Well, it's not quite as impressive as the 5-folded pizza, as it were. Again, being a Londoner who has to use the tube fairly frequently, I do try and avoid eating on the underground wherever possible. But I do have one story about trying to eat on a train. I have to take you back into the mists of time to 1995, I think it was. And
you're going to be on a school trip, aren't you?
Worse than that, I was in the Air Cadets when I was younger.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I was up in deepest, darkest Scotland. And we'd be on a camp at one of the RAF bases, as you do. And I might have accidentally suffered a compound fracture of my arm on the last day of the camp, which was fun. So, again, we were up in Inverness, and it's the last day of the camp, and my arm has a 90-degree bend in the middle of it where it shouldn't have. And it's like, well, do I stay up in the hospital in Scotland and, just make everyone come up to me and then have to get down all this? Or do we just get the train to go down to London? And again, I think I was about 13 and a half at the time, and I have no say in this. And they all decided it would be a much better idea to take me on the train with a broken arm and still quite a bit of shock. So anyway, I'm on the train with my broken arm in half of a car sort of thing. I'm pretty out of it because I've got some pretty heavy duty painkillers and I've not got a clue what's going on. And then I decide I'm quite hungry. So fight my way through the train with my arm in a sling. And I don't know if anyone's ever broken an arm, but it's an unusual thing to have. A big cast on your arm, it's this big bulky thing. You've got no movement or anything. Fight my way to the dining car on the train and order myself a burger, which for some reason I thought would be good. But this is British Rail we're talking about here, so it was many things. Good was not one of them. And I brought my sloppy microwaved burger back to my table to try and do it. And then discovered for the first time, if you don't have access to both of your arms, which you are used to having, everything becomes really difficult, especially if it's your right. I mean, I was right-handed and I just broken my right hand. It's very difficult to do things like unwrapping a burger, just to wrap a sort of thing. And so I had to get someone to help me do that. Slightly embarrassing. And then I'm trying to eat it. And again, it's just like, it is so incredibly difficult to eat a very soggy British Rail burger on a moving train with a broken arm. Literally ended up with more of it on me than on anyone else. I'm sure everyone around me was quite disgusted by it, but like I said, I was off me nut on painkillers and I had a broken arm. I didn't really give a huge amount of a shit. But yes, that was my probably first and last. Well, in all honesty, that was probably the last time I ate anything off of a train buffet cart. Yeah, that's just not good.
Oh,
so yes,
dear.
that is a British Rail burger that I had on on a train with a broken arm. So yes, fun times. To be fair, the reason I remember that story is probably more to do with the trauma of a broken arm than how bad the burger was, and I'm sure they've improved since then. But yeah,
I wouldn't bet against it.
It's very true, actually. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, I generally, not only do I dislike eating on the trains, I dislike other people eating on the trains.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I mean, people do eat on the trains, as you know, that happens. The only time I don't like it when it's like something really super smelly.
Yes.
I mean, it's like I say, there was one guy who, if I got on the carriage with him, I would actively sort of like, especially at Grove Park, I would actively sort of, if I had the chance at the next stop, literally jump off and go down like the carriage and then jump on the next one.
Oh yeah,
because this guy would literally, he'd be bringing in his curry from the night before, and then just decide he was hungry enough to open it up and just trough in, and he did it every bloody day. It was, I just think he must have had a bowel prolapse at some point. He just suddenly stopped appearing, and then he just, I just was like, oh my God, what are you doing? He opened up one. He opened up and it looked like he had a tin. And I thought, oh, maybe he's got biscuits or something. And he opened it up, and he had a burger. And it was like, you've got a burger in like a Quality Street tin. And he's opened it up, and it's like this flat, dead-looking old burger. And it's obviously like, that's from the day before.
Oh, God.
And it's like, what? And the smell that came off this thing, I think he must have actually cooked one of his pets and just stuffed it in his bun. And it was just like, it wasn't one of these things where, when sometimes people like can put up with the smell of a McDonald's or whatever. It was actually one of these things where it's so bad, people actually started opening windows and stuff. And this guy was just happily munching away on this thing, and he's like got this greasy old fat-driven burger that's been sitting in this fucking Quality Street tin. He finished it. God bless him, he finished it. I think he finished everyone else off, but fucking hell, he used to do so much. Oh, disgusting. But I mean, another one that I've done was when sort of one of the last couple of weeks at Cartoon, and there was a guy there called Dan Ralph, and he'd come back from a holiday in South America. And one of the things he brought back was this little teeny tiny. I mean, it was literally like one of these sort of jam pots that you get sort of from hotels that people nick off the buffet cart. But it was filled with habanero chili paste. And it came with these little tiny, like a little pot full of like, how can I put it, like toothpicks. And so what you would do is the idea was this habanero chilies was so strong, all you do is you dip in your little toothpick, and then you'd wipe it on your food. That was kind of like the serving suggestion.
I turned into a burning ring of fire.
Woo! And and so what happened was, sort of one of the sort of last days we were going for a drink and everything, and sort of lamenting what was going on. And Dan basically gave me this little tiny pot, and I don't know how to best put this, but basically what happened was I was trying to sort of brazen it out. So I sort of literally took one of the toothpicks out and I stuck it in there, got a little bit on the end of my tongue, and I just went dip like that, and everyone went, wow, I can't even eat that. And there's another guy called Celso going, oh, I can't stand chilies. And I'm sort of trying to brass it out going, oh yeah, that's fine. But what was actually happening was my entire face was going numb. But what happened was I got this kind of really smoky paprika taste afterwards. And I thought, you know what, that's really nice. So I had another little dab and another little dab. And then sort of drinks carried on, and, things got more and more outlandish, as they tend to do on these kind of things. And next thing I know, I remember sitting on this train, and I'm down to like 2 toothpicks. I mean, I've literally been dabbing this thing and sort of like burning my face off, but with this lovely smoky paprika taste in my mouth. So I was sitting there doing that, And this guy's like, there's this guy who was sitting across from me, drunk, and he's like, "What is that, mate? You're eating with a toothpick." And I went, "Oh, it's a habanero chili paste." And he, "Oh, give us a go. So I gave him this toothpick, and he literally just dabbed it in, stipped it on his end of his tongue, and promptly threw up all over the interior of the train.
Oh, jeez.
And it was like, whoa!
Carrots everywhere.
Yeah, it was. He was like, he was in a bad way because he was clearly not prepared for how very, very, very strong that chili was. And I'm sitting there like, oh, because I'm like, my face is all like fucking numb and burning, and I'm like drunk, and it must have looked like the most disgusting comical thing ever. There's just this drunk bloke offering a tiny toothpick to a man who immediately throws up everywhere. Luckily, I got off the next stop, so I didn't have to deal with it.
Oh, that's gross. Utterly gross.
Well, you asked.
No, see, I'm not a fan of eggs either, as you probably already know anyway. And I remember a school field trip. We went up to London. It might even be a Natural History Museum or Horniman's Museum. And we all walked up in our little single file. Before we all had like little flashy coats that you can see, like the reflective coats. They weren't invented then for little children. But, 2x2 up to Falconwood Station. And it was on, I can't even remember the service now, but the trains were still the slam door trains.
Oh, yeah.
And so you've got the slam door, and then you've got windows as well. And I was sat down, and I think there was a girl. I think her name was Victoria. And she got out her lunchbox, and she had the egg sandwiches, like the boiled egg sandwiches, and we all know what they smell like.
Yeah.
And as soon as you crack one of them open in a train carriage, it fills it immediately.
Ugh.
Every nook and cranny on that train is filled with egg. And so I spent pretty much all of my journey from Falconwood up to London with my head out of the window. Which in the 80s, 90s, I think it was frowned upon, but you were still allowed to. But there was always them rumours that people would lose their heads if they stuck their head out the window.
Yeah, that was just I don't get egg sandwiches. That's just especially those kind of boiled egg ones where it's all just chopped up solid egg white with bits of yellow shit in it.
But they know they're going to open an egg sandwich. They know what's going to happen. They know what's going to happen to the people around them.
Yeah.
Why do it?
Because they're selfish assholes, or they think everyone loves it. I mean, it's like I've seen people sort of eating fish and chips, and that's bad enough because like chips smell okay, but there's always that danger that the fish that they've got is like fishy fish, like rock and herring or something stupid like that, and it's just like as soon as you start eating shit like that, it's just going to fill the bloody carriage with smells. I don't get why they're doing it other than to be selfish assholes. Because, I mean, you can eat anything. You could have a bloody Snickers if you're hungry.
Yeah.
Don't start eating a full-blown fish curry on the bloody train.
Although, on the last train I caught, it was with Darren and Laura on the way back home from her birthday bash. And I was the guy who... I just had the Five Guys.
Yeah.
And did I still have chips? I think I was still eating the chips, and I had the spicy chips. And I was that guy, just eating the spicy chips, and just sat there for the next hour, just licking my fingers on the train.
Yeah, but spicy chips is one thing. Just I mean, there are things which you just don't eat. I mean, bloody egg salad sandwiches is just wrong. Eggy crisp sandwiches.
I wonder if children still have them for school packed lunch.
Because
my kids don't. Definitely don't.
Are they still allowed to take in packed lunches? I thought with all the peanut allergies and everything now, you weren't allowed to take in any food or anything.
No, you can take it in, but you just the schools ask very politely that you don't bring in anything that could be cause an allergic reaction. So you aren't allowed peanut butter sandwiches, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But Jack Woodgate on Mixler has just come up and said, regards to eating out of a can, a mate of mine opens a can of tuna, opens a can of sweet corn, mixes one into the other, and then just eats it like that.
What, like a fruit corner?
I guess so. I mean, that's like make your own sick and then eat it. I mean, it's just like that's just like storing it up like a gerbil or something. You just like, I want something that smells like old pants, very watery, and I want to put the sweet corn in there. It's like you're actually guaranteeing your sick outtake is going to look a certain way, isn't it? It's like eating crayons and hoping you're going to puke a rainbow.
Oh, God. Like putting cereal and then pouring milk into your mouth.
Oh,
dear. What's the matter with these people?
Yeah, though I will tell you, on a complete tangent, nothing to do with trains, one thing I did do once when I was quite young was I noticed that when I ate things like sugar puffs or cornflakes with a really tangy sort of... No, it wasn't that, was it? It was tea. When I had tea and it was really strong, you get this really weird tang in your mouth. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I really like that tangy taste. And I then noticed that it was the same tangy taste that you have when you have like really sweet from concentrate orange juice. Proper fresh orange juice. And what I did one day in a foodie sort of Heston Blumenthal style experiment like 20 years before was I got a really strong cup of tea, and then I put in the milk, but instead of just putting in any sugar, I took a big glug of fresh orange juice and threw it in the tea. Mm-hmm. Guess what happened?
It all came back out?
All the milk in the tea curdled, turned into like 700 little stringy bits. Like sometimes when you have tissue paper in your pockets and you put it in a tumble dryer.
Oh, that's like having Baileys and lime cordial, isn't it?
Yeah, and it all just turned into this stringy shit, and all the tea itself was just sitting underneath. And like a fool, I drank it, and unsurprisingly, I was very, very sick.
Oh, dear.
But I did have that tangy taste. It lasted longer, and it made sense.
Science. That's what that is.
See? That's what it's all about. Science.
Speaking of science, since we've only got...
Smooth.
Yes. 12 minutes left of this session, should we hit some more spaceships?
Yeah, we can do spaceships. Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
I'm going to throw one in of one that I personally like.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys just throw in one more.
Okay.
And see how we go. Icarus 2.
Nice.
Interesting choice. Funny you should mention that, actually.
Yeah.
Icarus, the only problem I have with Icarus 2 is the idea of it was to drop the bomb and then fly back.
Yes.
Once the bomb is inside the shield.
Yes.
Once the shield has been released...
I can answer this for you now.
Yeah,
It has a secondary smaller shield, which when it detaches from the stellar bomb, you see briefly before it blows up.
You do, but then the radio antennas would still be gone.
This is true.
Because that secondary shield wasn't big enough to hide the secondary radio
You are
antennas.
quite right in that, yes. A whole lot of the whole reason antennas get blown up was sketchy at best, but you are quite right there, yes.
Mm. Yeah, I mean...
It's actually less of... I think the smaller shield is okay to maintain it. It's more a fact that the deflection it had with the big shield, it would never have been in any risk. I mean, that stellar bomb was so massive, there was zero chance of any part of Icarus being exposed to the sun. Mm-hmm. You could literally go to probably almost 70 degrees deflection without the ship coming into sunlight. But for reasons of plot, they had to lose the radio antennas.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's just more of the losing the towers was less realistic than the smaller shield they had for the end bit.
Yeah, well, the thing is with that was that the towers only get lost when the ship basically is not pointing directly at the sun. As soon as it turns slightly to the angle, the idea was that the shield was to act as a shadow, correct? And so the point was that shadow presumably would be a cone that came out and covered the wheelie antennas bit.
Yeah.
But as far as it goes, I mean, the whole thing with Icarus was that when you see it switch across to detach the ships. Oh, what's that? I'm getting.
It's a picture of the Icarus with its smaller shield. Yeah. So that's the smaller shield. And yeah, if you keep that square onto the sun, the entire ship is okay, but any deflection will cause you issues. Which is why if they'd had the problem with that shield and they had to deflect slightly to avoid sunlight, that's fine. But because they used the stellar bomb, which is that big black thing occupying an entire one half of the screen there, I'll just post this in the chat so everyone else can see it, that makes less sense. So even if you were to turn the stellar bomb shield, say, to 60 degrees, you'd still be in that cone of the shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more just it was more a plot contrivance than anything. So what do you like about that ship anyway, Elton?
It looks practical for the mission that it was on. It's there. It's if you want to put a cue ball into a pocket on a game of snooker without hitting any other balls, you use the cue and just push it, and that's all it's doing. It's just a long, thin cue pushing that ball to the pocket.
Yeah,
that's all it is. And I think it's very, very minimalist. It's not over exuberant, shall we say. Hasn't got massive compartments on it for no reason whatsoever.
No. I mean, to be quite honest, it is one of the ships which is probably the most scientifically accurate up to a point. I mean, the only thing that it really kind of fails on is the fact that it has artificial gravity and everyone's in the central section.
Yeah.
But apart from that,
I've got to be careful because again, spoiler alert, everyone, we're doing this shit next. We're doing science ships next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which for the listeners isn't going to be for what?
About 4 weeks.
About 4 weeks. In about 4 weeks' time, we're doing science ships.
Okay. Well,
I don't want to.
I don't want to cloud your judgment or move the judgment.
Oh no, it's not that. It's just I have defences in place which I don't want to tip my hand to just yet.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Once we have our ships in place and we all want all our ships to get on the board, then obviously, we'll put up, the ones you can't argue about, speed and size and that kind of thing. We'll let those go. But when it gets to sort of like later on, the other categories,
when you get to your realizations and your science and so forth, then you've got to. It's like a game of poker. You've got to keep your cards close to your chest.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then you don't have to say anything for this, but one of the other reasons why I do like this is because you got the garden in there as well, and it looks so very practical.
Yes. Yeah. That garden is extremely well realized.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of. There's a lot of ships which have like garden areas for habitat and generation of food and resources and stuff. I mean, it's the earliest one for that sort of thing is the Valley Forge from Silent Running.
Yeah,
which has those big bug-eyed domes, which Doreen mentioned on Mixler earlier on. And that's fantastic. The only thing that fails on is the fact that it's got big glass domes and the spaceship's so far away from any sunlight. It's like, well, where's the light coming from?
Yeah,
they do address like he doesn't erect solar lamps or something in there to deal with it.
You need a bit more than just.
I know you needed a bit, but I'm just saying they at least pay lip service to it, don't they?
Yeah, but the Icarus 2, it's like walking into a shop like a B-Jams or an Iceland, where you've got like the refrigerators are all on one wall, and you've got all the grasses and the plants behind that. I just think it's so NASA-esque that they would keep them in these these type of refrigerators.
It didn't quite have DeGrasse Tyson on board, but it did have Brian Cox, his British equivalent, if you will, on board as a science advisor. For all the good the Pinbacker stuff did, but still. We won't get into that. Powder's dry.
Yeah, I mean, the mass to make a stellar bomb big enough, the size of Manhattan, would actually take
two.
More resources than there is on the entire Earth. But
but then we've had things like Darth Vader's Star Destroyer, which also have more resources than several planets to make.
Right. Okay. 5 minutes left. Andy, go on in.
Yes. Well, sciencey based ships.
Anything you want. Just another one that you really, really like.
Oh, I absolutely. Going back to like Star Trek ships, my favourite Enterprise, just to go back to it, is the refit of the Enterprise. The Enterprise refit. It might not be the fastest or the most powerful or the biggest, but it's the best. It's the best proportion. It's the best looking. It was my Enterprise growing up. I love that ship. And no carpets, so it's win-win.
No static shots in.
Self-destruct is a little bit iffy, but other than that,
very iffy. I've said 1, 1, 1, 1, and we're going to what, Sector Alpha? Self-destruct.
I'm doing my recreation of Shakespeare. To be or not to be. What do you mean? What destruct activated?
Yeah, exactly. For me, another one of my favorite ships would be there's one from the books which I'll leave in case we come back for another round of this. But there's there's the Normandy itself, which I love. I'm trying to think. There's loads of them, but I guess the Millennium Falcon. I think you can't argue with that ship. It looks like a piece of junk, but
when you saw it in The Force Awakens, even though we knew it was in there, when you see it, it's a thrilling moment. It's like, it's the Falcon, that's so cool. And when you hear the engines fire up as well, it's just such a cool moment. And we all knew it was there. We'd seen it in the trailers and everything, but when you see it for the first time, your heart was filled with joy.
Didn't have that feeling.
You didn't?
Didn't have that feeling.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you dead inside?
I maybe when this film is concerned, yes.
Okay.
Oh, sad trombone. I mean, the only other ship I'd say is probably something like Thunderbird 3, which I love. I think it's a fantastic design. Mm-hmm. Don't go on about it being Red Rocket, Andy. I've heard enough.
I wasn't going to say anything about it being a Red Rocket. I was going to compliment its fantastic cloaking device.
Oh, get stuffed. It's not a cloaking device visually, you divwit. You even used it's the same thing as the bloody Normandy. You can just look out of a window and see the blasted thing. You can't actually see it on any radars. Oh.
Now, okay, I'm going to come to bat for Lee here for a minute, right? Under our revised scoring system, it makes sense because we actually have a category for things like cloaking devices. That's fine. But when we did episode 0, we didn't. We just had an option for firepower. And Lee managed to argue that it should have scored, what was it, 3?
Yeah.
I think he managed to argue that an unarmed rescue shuttle should score 3 for firepower, which I've got to go for that. It was spectacular reasoning. If you haven't listened to episode 0, go give it all a listen because there were some hoops were jumped through. But he stuck the landing.
Okay. Yeah. Right, I'm going to cut you off there. Are we coming back for one more or a little bit more?
I'm up for a bit more if you want.
Okay.
If willing to listen to it? Yep.
Okay, right, we'll come back for a little bit more in around about 10-15 minutes for the people on Mixler. Otherwise, please join us next time if we are around on mixler.com/RogueTwoMedia, and we'll be back, very, very soon, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, see you later.
Tatty pie.
Ta-ra. But it's the simple question of weight ratios, okay? A 5-pound bird cannot carry a 1-ounce coconut.
It must simply grab it by the husk.
Look, it's not a matter where it grips the bloody thing. It's a simple question of weight ratios.
What about and they don't migrate. What about African swallows?
Well, an African swallow may be, but an African swallow is non-migratory. Oh, look, we're back.
Good Lord.
Hello.
Yes, we're back again. Shonky Lab, back on Mixler once again. I'm once again for part 3 of 3, because this is it. This is no more. There is no more after this.
3 being the number of accounting, and the number of accounting being 3.
No.
We go to 4.
5 is right out.
I'm joined by Mr. Lee Medcalf.
Hello.
And Mr. Andy Poulastides.
Hello.
There we go. Right, so what were we going to crack on with this part 3 of 3? I think it was least favourite ships.
Oof.
We were going to start with.
Oof.
Do you know what? I think we should start with Andy this time.
Ooh, least favourite starships. I'm going to try and avoid mentioning ones which are just bad because of low budgets and all that. And this will probably get me lynched, but I was never a fan of any of the ships from Farscape.
Right, to Google.
I think it's called a Moya, isn't it?
Yeah, Moya and Talon.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, that. Yeah.
Are you with me there, Lee?
I'm with you all the way with Farscape. I never saw the appeal of Farscape.
I just couldn't get into it. Yeah.
Yeah, that and Stargate SG-1. Ooh, some of the shit that used to produce as well was bloody awful. I know everything has to be Egyptian. Let's put feathers on everything. Fuck off.
Okay, now I'll save it. I didn't mind Stargate SG-1. However, it was a series that ended and then kept going. And then they decided when they ran out of the bad guys being these Egyptian gods, which were impersonating, the aliens impersonating Egyptian gods, they decided instead to get these new aliens who were just impersonating other gods. It was like, oh my God, they're completely different bad guys with a completely different thing. But they're still pretending to be gods. And it's just like, yeah. It should have ended with them fishing, and I'll leave it at that.
It should have ended with the bit where it says Stargate SG-1. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, but yeah. So the ships from Farscape, and again, I think for me it's because I never got into the show. Because okay, another controversial opinion here. The Serenity is not the best looking starship in fiction, such as it is, but I have an affinity for the ship because I love the show. I love Firefly. I love the crew. So I have a real affinity for the ship, although I can acknowledge it is not the best looking ship in the universe. Whereas with Farscape, because I never had that affinity with the show or with the crew, it just looks like an ugly ship to me. So, yep. Yeah. There you go.
Fair enough. Cool. Lee?
Well, I've got a list. I've got a big list. Essentially, I hate any spaceship which is poorly designed, I hate pretty much every kind of kit bash piece of fan wank to do with Star Trek.
Loves the Jaeger class.
No, yeah. I mean, if you go online and look at any Star Trek ship not designed by the people who make Star Trek, Egyptians in Vancouver, Jack's just said. Sorry. Yeah, and you look at like Star Trek fan designs. Basically, you've got the most unimaginative human beings on Earth turning around and going, I know, I'm going to take a saucer. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some engines on it. And then I'm going to put that central bit in it. And it just looks stupid every single time. Mm-hmm. There's never a moment where you sit there and go, oh, do you know what? I could see that in the TV show. You go, no, actually, what you've done there is you got some graph paper, you cut out a saucer, and then you cut out the Enterprise engines, and then you've turned them upside down, stuck them together, and gone, job done. It's like, no. People are designers and draftsmen and engineers who work all this shit out to make it look beautiful. The Enterprise E is this long, graceful new design. But you look at anything that someone puts together because they're just wanking about with bits that they've cut up from like Airfix models. It's just like, no.
Lee, look at the last one I sent you.
I'm looking at it. It just that's just fucking rubbish.
Oh dear.
And everything that fans put out is done with love. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking.
I've got a good one here for you.
Oh, don't, because I tell you, it makes me angry. Every single one of them. Oh, fuck off. That's just a toilet tube. That's like mum's first science project, trying to make an enterprise for their science fiction-y fan kid. That's just cock. That is literally like someone's got a cigar tube and a couple of bits from an Amtil fucking enterprise model and just gone, yeah, I'll tell you what, if I stick that all together, it might look like something.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's not good. And I'll tell you what, all of this stuff.
It has a face on it as well.
Yeah.
You can see the face. It's like it's pouting as it's taking
shocked.
its own selfie.
It's almost like you can look at it and it's almost going, kill me. Yeah. I mean, Star Trek fan builds are, with rare exceptions, to a man of that, they are absolutely bollocks, made by idiots. I know. We've always tried to be very careful about not annoying, fans.
No, they don't listen to this cast. It's fine. Go nuts.
But seriously, it just incenses me on a purely on an artistic level. Not even like liking Star Trek. I just look at it and it just looks lazy. It's just like someone. It's like there was a front cover for a music of the cinema kind of thing. I think it was like a Jeff Last or something like that. One where they do bad covers of music from films and TV. And they obviously couldn't get the rights to do Star Trek or Star Wars on the cover. So what they did was they took a picture of the end of the Millennium Falcon and then stuck the Enterprise from the neck down on it. So it looked like the Millennium Falcon with the Enterprise sort of just jutting out the bottom. And it was like, okay, I see what you did there, but it looks like shit. And that image comes to my mind every time I see a fan-built spaceship. And everyone stands there all proud of it. Like, oh, look at this. Oh, yeah, Jack Woodgate goes, yes, the USS Tampon applicator. Oh, there you go. Jeff Love and his orchestra. Look at this, right? What he's put in the chat, right? Have a look at that. And look what they've done to the Enterprise to cover it up.
I'd be more concerned with what they've done to. Is that Scott or Virgil Tracy in the corner?
I don't know. I think it's Johnny Cab, to be honest. But
an Eagle transporter behind him.
Yeah, except they put a little tinkly nose thing on the end of it, so it's not the same ship.
And they've given Spaceship 5 an extra ring. No, Space Station 5, sorry, an extra ring.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a third ring, yeah.
Yeah. See, to get you around it. But that is fan art in a nutshell. That's fan designs right there. It's like, it's just bollocks. You would never pay a single person to make a spaceship if that's what they had in their portfolio. It's just like, you are just an unimaginative arse bandit with absolutely zero intelligence or design ethic at all. You just think putting bits from other ships together makes another ship. It's like, no, it just looks like shit. And you should feel bad for bringing this abominable...
The starship's bad and you should feel bad.
Exactly. I mean, as for real design ships that are bad, I mean, there's the Cement Horizon, which is bloody awful, because of course, what do we need? We need a cathedral in space, because that's what NASA want to do. Make a cathedral in space. But not only that, let's make a tunnel to the engine room, which will make people feel fucking sick. I know. Let's have a tunnel that's constantly...
I was going to say, I didn't see any railings around this spiky room, so I think health and safety might have a few words for them. Also, none of those warning symbols with the the yellow hazard signs. They should have been prominently visible in all those dangerous places.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just terrible. and then the other one is the Auriga from Alien Resurrection.
Oh, now that is a bad. That is a ship which doesn't look the same from any two angles.
Basically, they made it, and then what happened was then they realised about halfway through filming that they had to film it from another angle.
Mm-hmm.
So they rebuilt the model, and that model looks nothing like the other model. And then they had to film it from another angle, and they did the same again. And then someone else, and then they had to refilm it again. And what they did this time was they made a painting, which was a painting of it against the planet. But not only that, it was a painting against the planet, and it had to make the other three models all fit together. So again, you look at it, and there's no one shot of that ship that ever looks the same. It just looks like someone's had a really lot and eaten a lot of roughage and had a really bad shit.
Oh, hang on. So there's a shot of it from the front.
Mm.
Okay.
Yep.
So right now, let me just find the rear angle shot. Ah, there we go. And here's a shot of it from the rear.
Mm.
Euphemism.
Yeah. Jim's left. That's it. He's gone.
Has he gone? Oh, fine. He's bugging up.
So look at that, Elton.
Yep.
Does the back of that ship look like it's attached to the front of that ship?
In no way whatsoever.
No.
And the thing is, what's the most tragic here is this is the series which birthed us the Nostromo and to a lesser extent the Sulaku, which were both very well realised starships that, make sense and look cool and, are iconic. And then you have this, which when Lee mentioned this to me the first time, I had to Google it because I couldn't remember the name of a bloody thing. It was just like, it meant nothing to us.
It looks like a maggot. The first picture you put out, it looks like a maggot with all the ridges.
It does. You are absolutely right.
And the little eyes on the front stems.
Mm. Yeah, it's just an armoured slug from the front. From the back, it looks like someone stepped on a spaceship with lots of engines.
Well, it's like the ones from Starship Troopers from the back, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just a catastrophe of design. And it's again, there's a shot of it from the side where someone's obviously gone, hang about, these two bits don't fit. Let's make a ship where it looks like it fits from the side. And it's just like, hold on, there it is. Yeah. And we can't even make it fit. So I'll tell you what we do. We'll do it in 99.9% darkness. That's like taping over all your bad bits of artwork. That's like Tipex. Space Tipex.
So when we get to our episode about throwing your ships under the bus, we know what you're going to go for, yeah?
You know it. I'm going to kick that thing so hard that even the designers will feel it. I mean, seriously. It's terrible. It's a terrible, terrible design. And, that's the thing. I've doodled spaceships that look better than that. I feel sorry for the people who had to work on it. But on the other hand, I also feel like, well, you didn't bring your A game, guys. And, you didn't, no one planned it. It's just awful.
No, it's an afterthought.
This is an incident where there was no design-led construction of a ship. No one gave any thought to what anything does. It was just make a big spaceship. I mean, I tell you what, Spaceball 1 has more sense into it than this thing does.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with Spaceball 1 is it's supposed to transform into Meter Maid, so there has to be elements of Meter Maid built into it, even if it doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hold on, Jack Woodgate just put up one in the chat that said, here's one from the Star Trek animated series that's stuck in my craw. Oh, goodness sake. What is that? I mean, again, it just looks like someone started drawing a boat, then got bored halfway through, and then thought, I know, I'll rub this bit out and I'll rub that bit out. Oh, I've got some nacelle pictures here. I think if I just stick them on the side, that'll be fine.
Well, that's what they go for.
Yeah.
If you put them on there, then you're in the Star Trek world.
Yeah. I mean, if I had a particularly tough shit and then stuck some nacelles in it, I mean, I think that
Mate, I really, really think you need to go and see a doctor about this. We've had this discussion before. See a doctor.
Dude, if you fold up pizzas on a train and eat it, that's what happens to you. But
what about you, Elton? Have you got any terrible spaceships?
Getting away from the poo talk.
Yeah.
Right. I might be. I'm ready for a kick in on this. Flight of the Navigator.
Oh.
I don't like that ship at all.
See, Doreen mentioned this on the Mixlr chat earlier on.
Oh, okay.
That she thought the interior was quite nice, you know, the shiny seats and all that kind of stuff.
I don't like it. It doesn't look comfortable whatsoever. It just looks like everything is Teflon coated and everything's Teflon coated, and then you put a teenager in it. That's not good.
I'll be honest with you, it does remind me of someone with a 3D package trying to make a walnut and then using default chrome as their surface. Yeah. It's not the most inspiring of spaceships. I'll be honest with you.
It's not, but I'll give it a slight pass. Just in that it was middle of the 80s, like 84, was it?
Yeah.
It was pretty groundbreaking effects at the time. I mean, when I saw that when I was a kid, I was convinced they'd built a real spaceship because I was like, I couldn't see how they couldn't make that real. It was just like,
when
I can't see the strings on that.
When it skimmed across the water as well.
What was that? And when the steps come out from the back, you know, it kind of pulls down into the steps.
Oh, I didn't like the steps.
It transforms into the longer, sleeker version. But yeah, like I said, I'm not saying it's a good design. I'm just saying I'm going to give it a bit of leeway in that very early. I don't know if it was CG or model work or what it was, but it was very well done for the time.
It was CG. But then, you know, the thing with that is even that's not really a super duper excuse because you've got things like The Last Starfighter, which was like the first instance of CG spaceships as far as I remember.
Hang on. I think I know that ship.
The Gunstar.
Gunstar, yeah. Well, while you're looking at that, by the way, if anyone is interested in just seeing nicely designed ships done from imagination by people with a bit of talent, and they want to see something that isn't a Star Trek, 2 nacelles, a cylinder that looks like a cigar holder, and another disc on top, then I would suggest you go to conceptships.blogspot.co.uk.
The link of which has just appeared in the chat.
Yes.
As if by magic.
As if by magic.
Just like that.
Because it's just beautiful. And you could then, some of the stuff that's done on that could easily be a nice desktop wallpaper or something like that.
This will eat your... This is a site where you go to just have a quick browse, and the next thing you know, it's 6 hours later, and where the hell is my day gone?
Gotcha. Okay, right, I'm going to drop a couple more in, if you don't mind.
No, by all means.
You know, in the prequels of Star Wars...
The what?
The what?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Prequels?
You know, in the prequels...
Next you'll be telling me there's 4 Indiana Jones films.
Don't
there isn't, there's 5.
There's not.
Yeah, I didn't mind the idea of the development of the ships. I thought the idea of development wasn't too bad. It was the way that they did them. And what turned into the TIE Fighter in the Sith movie.
The Sith.
Yeah. Didn't like that at all.
The Jedi Starfighter, is it?
Yeah. I couldn't stand that.
I don't mind that so much, but let me tell you one of the issues I have, not so much now since it's been expunged from existence, but one of the issues I had with the Star Wars Expanded Universe, especially things like Knights of the Old Republic and the Old Republic and those older games, is the fact that they were implying that 6,000 years ago, the bad guys were still flying around in triangle-shaped Star Destroyer ships, and all the soldiers were walking around in white plastic armor. Mm-hmm. It is a society in cultural stagnation where nothing has evolved in the X number of years. It's just... The thing is, and this is probably a completely different chat for the other day, but one of the things that made the original Star Wars film so good is it was a sense of nostalgia. It was a sense of implying that things had used to be better than they were now. You know, this whole sense of the Old Republic was much better than the Empire they had now. You know, they used to have elegant weapons from a more civilized age and so forth, And then when you got the prequels, it was shown not to be the case. It was shown that actually it was worse than it is now. which kind of undermine a lot of that. And a lot of those designs, I mean, there was some nice things in the prequels for ship-wise. I don't mind in Attack of the Clones, I think it is, the big flying chrome wing that Amidala has. Is it Attack of the Clones?
That is in Phantom Menace as well.
No, in Phantom Menace, it's much more of a crew. It's like a pointy nose sort of thing. I like the wing one.
Right.
But but by and large, the prequels, the ship designs, they're just rehashing what they've already done in the original films.
Well, which I mean, not to give them an excuse, but basically what you've got there is you've got someone saying this is where these ships start off and this is where they have to end. So you have to get like vestigial limbs worth of design in there to sort of say, well, this is how it's going to end up, kind of thing. And the designer Doug Chang was a big Star Wars fan, so unsurprisingly, a lot of the elements tried to look like the older Star Wars movies instead of looking different. And you know, I don't know. It's an excuse, but it's something you kind of have to kind of accept, I guess.
Yeah.
Your mileage may vary.
Some stuff I thought in them wasn't too bad. There was a nice idea. You know the stations that are on the Phantom Menace outside Naboo, and they're just orbiting the trade blockade, basically.
Yeah,
and yeah, they're space stations up there. You know the central orb of that.
Mm-hmm.
They were seen in Attack of the Clones taking off from the surface.
Yeah, that's right.
And I once you grasp that, then you think, oh, hang on. So you had that, and then they decided to get rid of that big half donut around it. And I just like that touch. I thought that was a great touch.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. There's an awful lot. I mean, you know, we're ragging on lots of this stuff, but the design stuff that goes into some of these ships and the thought of it really is quite in depth. I mean, they literally have to think about everything this ship can do on the off chance that the director and the writer might suddenly turn around and ask them to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, some of that stuff, like especially like those Genosian, control ships, were really well sorted, thought out. You know, it's only the writing. Again, it's a bit like Prometheus. It's only the writing and the.
There's a school of thought that says if you watch Star Wars in a different language, so you put it in a different language you don't understand, they're beautiful films to just watch.
Oh yeah,
it's the dialogue which fucks them all up.
They're great demonstrations for high def TVs.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So at some points, anyway.
Well, yeah.
Some of it looks rubbish, but I'm going to throw one more at you. I think it's more for the interior than the exterior. The exterior is not too bad. Do you remember the big? It's pretty much a cruise liner in space from WALL-E.
Yes, the Axiom.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's more the interior that I don't like in that. You're walking in. I know it's made by Disney, but you're walking into an Apple store.
Yeah.
What is that? I mean, it is effectively, as you say, it's a cruise liner, and cruise liners are my idea of hell.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's just it's a cruise. It's not it's a resort. It's a hotel. It's a holiday resort, isn't it?
Well, yeah, for the whole of mankind.
Well, not all of mankind.
Well, not
just
all, yeah.
A large portion of it.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just. I'm with you on that. It's certainly not a space I'd want to be on. But
And then you got that stupid bloody captain as well. Flipping. I don't like that movie at the best of times anyway. But then you got them stupid things that are just whizzing around all over the place. Robots left, right, and centre. I flipping hate it. Really do. And then you got the stupid captain. Yes, I know he looks like a wheel, and the captain looks like a captain. Oh yes, oh yeah, a wheel on a boat. I know that. It just go away. Just go away.
So what we've basically established is actually you just don't like WALL-E as a film.
Oh, it's bobbins. I hate
coming
it.
up next on the Black Dog podcast.
No, no. Actually, you're perfectly safe there. I don't like it at all. I detest WALL-E. I absolutely hate it. It's just so sugary and twee, and the message is so utterly naive. It's just
the message is just delivered with a cattle prod. I hate
Can I just steer you both back to the Mixler chat for just a moment? Jack has posted something truly horrifying.
Okay, hold on.
Click on the picture he's posted.
What?
Say what you see. Say what you see.
What the flaming fuck is that? It looks like half-designed Muppet. I don't even know how to comprehend what it looks. It looks like someone's doing.
There's a reason that everyone involved wanted to disavow the animated series, and I think Jack has just posted what that reason is.
Well, for those of you who can't see this thing, imagine who's Sam the Eagle from
The Muppets.
The Muppets, and it's basically his beak. And then the internal structure of his body is showing, and the rest of his head has been removed. And there's this red bit that may or may not be controlling his eyes. It's like someone's put like 2 red socks on their hands, like sock puppets, and then crossed their arms over and pretending they're wings, while someone else has taken a purple beak and stuck it on their elbows. It's just mind-bogglingly shit.
It's not good, if we're honest.
It's called the Cuculcan.
Apparently you can't.
No, Cuckoo bollocks. Cuckold wankfist. What is that? It's just, Jesus, that's just fucking awful.
It's hideous, isn't it?
Again, back to Star Trek. Star Trek can produce some of the worst spaceships ever. Oh, no. That's just awful. I'm going to go back to looking at concept ships.
Yes, go back to concept ship. It's safe there.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, let's get away from Disco Smiles.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about real spaceships.
Yes, please.
Actual ones. Have you guys got a favourite space probe? Because we've sent a fair few out of there, and we posted a graphic earlier. So, Elton, what's your favourite real spaceship?
Well, off the chat, I did say Voyager 1, just for the historic sentiment that it contains. It will be there.
I was going to say, Voyager 1, unless we do invent some method of faster than light technology, will always be the furthest object away from mankind.
Made by man, yeah.
Made by man, yes.
It's always going to be there until the end of time. And I love
until
that
some
fact.
angry Klingon blows it up.
Yeah, or it drops into a black hole or something like that. But then again, look, mankind has sent something to a black hole. Excellent.
Yeah,
there was what was the one around Saturn recently?
Cassini was Saturn. Galileo was Jupiter.
I think it was Cassini, and it dropped a probe down onto Titan.
That was Cassini, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I found it, and it dropped Huygens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which was the lander.
Yep. I mean, yeah. Is it Huygens or Huygens?
Huygens.
Huygens. Okay, there you go. But Cassini is the only ship which actually took a photograph of every person on Earth waving at it. Basically, because I went to a presentation which had Brian Cox hosting and Robin Ince, and one of the chats by one of the guests was actually the lady who's in control of Cassini and the photography and the time on the camera and everything, and she was doing all these presentations. And apparently, what they did was they set up a time and they put it on NASA's Twitter and said, at this time of day, GMT, adjust for time, obviously, Cassini will look back at the Earth and take a photograph, and we want you to all be standing there waving up at the sky. And apparently, there's they got thousands and thousands and thousands of photographs of people sort of taking photographs of them waving at the sky. And so apparently, it holds the world record for the photograph with the most people waving in it.
Wow, I didn't even hear about that.
Didn't? Oh,
I don't think you can beat, though, for pictures of Earth. It's not a fantastic picture of the Earth, but it's the pale blue dot picture.
Yeah.
That is, for me, one of the single most powerful images ever captured by mankind. It's such a viscerally powerful image. And I think speaks to one of the reasons why I love Spaceship so much. This sense of there's more out there. There's so much more than what we have here. And I don't know if anyone's seen the picture. Let me just see if I can find a thing.
Well,
I'll stick in the chat.
Cassini did a pale blue dot version. Where
It did a version, but like I said, it wasn't the pale blue dot. It wasn't. The reason the pale blue dot was so powerful was Voyager 2 was out past Saturn. It left the solar system effectively, I think.
It was Voyager 1.
No, it was Voyager 2 took the picture, I think. Voyager 2 took the picture because it had done the thing. There you go, I found a picture of it. But what they did was they turned Voyager around and took this picture. They took a picture of all the planets in the solar system. But what they did... Oh, no, you were right. It was Voyager 1. I stand corrected. In 1990. But it managed to catch this single pixel, which was the Earth. And Carl Sagan gives this beautiful little monologue talking about how this one blue dot contains everyone who's ever lived, everyone who's ever loved, every dictator, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint, every sinner, everyone is this mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. And it was just such a viscerally powerful image. And I think that, for me, it's one of the reasons I love space so much. But it's also one of the reasons I love spaceships. It's that sense that I want to get out and I want to see the pale blue dot for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Cool. Well,
yeah, it is such a powerful shot. I do remember hearing about this when they wanted to do it. I'm sure it was on the Night Sky or something like that.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Sky Night even.
Let me post this here because I know Lee can play this. That's Carl Sagan giving his speech about it.
What, you want me to play it?
No, I'm just saying if you want to, it's there sort of thing. But that is a very powerful image with a powerful little chat from Carl Sagan explaining why it's so powerful.
I will stick that on the end of this episode.
Stick it on. It's a great way to sign off, that is. Yeah. I stick it on there. But yeah, I mean, for me, my favourite real ship, such as it were, it's the Saturn V. The Saturn V, the Apollo missions, basically. They didn't go as far as Cassini or Voyager or anything like that. They only went as far as the moon. But it was the sense of being able to go from making a commitment that we will go to the moon in this decade and bring a man safely back to Earth, to building this. And I believe it's still the single most complex machine ever devised by man. It's the Saturn V. It's such a powerful rocket. You know, it's still today with the new Orion thing. They're looking at the Saturn V engines as possible bases of what to build because they got it so right straight out of the gate. With those big F1 engines, and you know it was a little bit before my time. But when you see the videos, especially in like Apollo 13 of that thing launching, you see all the ice cascading down of it as all the different sections go off. I mean, that's just
it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
It is. It's just such a fucking cool spaceship, and it's this thing. It's the size of like it's 112 feet tall. I think it is. This thing's like a 12-story building to launch something the size of a VW Beetle. You know, I mean, it's wasteful as fuck, but you just got to love that ambition. It's the sense of we're gonna go and do it, and they did it, which was just fucking cool. You know, and I wish we had that sense of being able to do stuff like that today, sort of thing. You know, it's I think we as a species have lost that drive to go and do things like that now. You know, yes, there's other priorities and all that, but slight tangent, but the shuttle was a mistake, in my opinion. We should never have bothered with the space shuttle. It was expensive for what it did. We're only just now kind of picking up the lessons we learned from the Saturn V, so we're 30 years behind where we should be for space exploration.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was the 80s, though. You had the Star Wars projects that they wanted to bring out as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all bravado, and look what we can do. We make them. They wanted it to look like a plane as well.
Well, a lot of it was the US Air Force wanted to be able to spy on the Russians and insisted that the shuttle had wings so it could glide back over Russia.
Yeah.
I mean, sister, did it be able to launch from Kennedy to launch their own things? And then after everything was signed off and they got along, they changed their mind and decided to use satellite and some of the Blackbirds instead. So they're just stuck with these things like going, the fuck?
But yeah, I think you're right. We have actually lost the drive for that sort of thing, which it's such a shame. I'd like to say imagine where we would be. We'd probably still be where we are now, but getting ready to go to places.
I think if we'd have carried on the progress we'd had from the Saturn missions throughout the 80s and 90s, I think it's realistic to expect we'd have some sort of presence on the moon, like a permanent presence, or we'd at least been back there since. And I think we'd have certainly had space stations before the International Space Station went up, something like that. I mean, a lot of the problem is we don't have the infrastructure to get into space cheaply, and that's only just now starting to happen with things like SpaceX and what is the Amazon blokes one? Blue Origin, is it? That sort of stuff, you know. It's just only those are just starting to get us to a point where we can go up to space and come back for slightly less. I mean, until we get something like space elevators, I always think it's going to be somewhat expensive to do that. But that's a whole different discussion.
Geez, space elevators. How many times have I spoken about them?
Oh, man. Doreen has a soft spot for Beagle too, yeah. But the little probe almost did.
Yeah, Beagle 2. It was the British space program, wasn't it?
It was a British probe, or British design probe, yeah, but it was a European mission, I believe.
Yeah, sent up to Mars to land. It had a microphone on it as well. It was going to record what it sounds like on Mars.
Yeah, I mean that was the idea. The idea was to do a lot of these things on a thing, and it was one of the main things was it was done on such a cheap budget, comparatively speaking. But a lot of people forget just how treacherous it is to get to Mars. I think, yes, we've sent more probes to Mars than almost anywhere else, but we've also lost more to Mars because it's a very narrow window to get the landings just right. But I'll tell you what, we've got to take a moment to just acknowledge. We've got to take a moment to acknowledge the Opportunity rover on Mars, which was sent up for a 90-day mission in 2007, I believe. No, 2003, I think it was.
Yeah, 2003.
It's still going today. Yeah, it was launched in 2003 for 90 days, and it's still going today. They do not build those fuckers like they used to.
There was another one that got stuck in the sand, wasn't
Spirit.
there? Yeah.
There was Spirit, which got stuck, but Opportunity is still going strong.
And Curiosity is still up there as well.
Curiosity, the probe with a nuclear reactor. I love that comic from XKCD, which pointed out that Mars is the only planet we know of entirely inhabited by robots.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah, I also like with the small bit of thing with Curiosity, which always comes up around about sort of June. It goes, if you ever feel alone, just remember that every June 24th, Curiosity sits on Mars and plays Happy Birthday to itself.
Oh, that's just harsh.
It does. It's a little. It plays a little Happy Birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Curiosity. Happy birthday.
That's just. I feel bad for it now. Have you guys seen the XKCD comic about Spirit?
No.
It's going to make you cry. Hang about. Let me just find it. I'll stick it in the chat, and I'm sure Elton can pop it in the old thing when he posts it. But have a look at this. It'll make you sad.
Make us sad. Oh God! Right, yeah. No, that's 89 days to go. 2 days till I come home. Well, maybe I didn't do a good enough job. guys. Oh,
but don't worry. I'll cheer you up because here's the Opportunity one.
Okay, the Opportunity one is 6 years. Spirit is down, but Opportunity is still going strong. That's in 2010. Tough little rover, 2015. 11 years. Wow. Wasn't the original mission 90 days? This is starting to get weird. 2023. The battery is totally disconnected. How come it's still moving? Wait, what did we give? What
Given what it did to the Mars 2020 rover, we may never know.
2450. Mars terraform Mars, Martian Imperial Capital. Everything the light touches is our kingdom. What's that dark area? That's the opportunity half of the planet. We must never go there.
If you hover the mouse over it, there's like hidden text, and it goes, we all remember those famous first words spoken by an astronaut on the surface of Mars. This is one more small step for, holy shit, look out, it's got some kind of drill. Get back to the unintelligible signal lost.
Nice.
Yeah.
If we go back to the chart of the cosmos,
Yeah.
that we got. If you go to, can you find box number 8?
Box number 8. I have box number 8 in front of me, yes.
Orbiters of the Sun.
Yes.
Pioneer 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a death head moth.
I was actually going to say, it reminds me of the Imperial interrogation droids from New Hope.
It is very similar, yes, but it has got a slight skull to it. Are we the
does.
bad guys?
I think that might be the bad guy one, yes. Wait, maybe that's what fucked up the sun in Sunshine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yep. Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's right. Have we got anything else to add to this conversation of spaceships or space technology or anything like that at all?
Oh, well, we could keep going all day, but we have a podcast to do that on, so
Yes.
we probably should let people get on.
Okay, then.
Yeah, I've got nothing. I've got nothing further to add, Your Honour.
Okay, then. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll wrap it up here for now. Thank you to everyone who's joined us, especially the people in the Mixler room. Thank you, everyone.
Yep.
Would you two like to plug away again, please, if you don't mind?
Andy?
Well, you can hear us on a pokey little space podcast called Space Doc Jury, which you can find at spacedoc.geekplanetonline.com, and also on iTunes and on Facebook, which is facebook.com/groups/Space Doc Jury, where we talk about spaceships, basically, and stuff to do with spaceships and any old random stuff we get onto. There's myself, Mr. Medcalf, and the Right Honourable Reverend Peter Organ of the broadcast.
A bit sick at the moment.
He's a bit sick. He's gearing up for a busy week at work, so I hear.
Yeah.
His boss is coming back, apparently, so he's got to look busy.
Yeah. So he's got to get some chocolate eggs and get the carpenters in.
Yeah.
Sorry. No more nails. No more nails.
Stop it.
What?
Right, okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us in the Mixler. Everyone who's listened to this, everyone who's downloaded this, people in the Mixler, you still don't get out of it. You still have to download this. That is the law. I will be checking on each and every one of you. There's no excuses. Can I just direct everyone to either the Shonky Lab homepage, which is shonkylab.rogue2.com. Also, we've got a Facebook page where you can join in all the discussions. I think, because we've had a little discussion off air, the next episode might be called Before the Internet. So if anyone wants to join me, let me know. You're more than welcome to come on, and we can talk about...
an elegant weapon of a more civilized age.
Yes. Anyone's welcome on to talk about Before the Internet, so I do need someone to bat off. Shall we say?
Wait, let's rephrase that.
Oh, what a way to close. Yes, head over to facebook.com/groups/ShonkyLab, and you can find all the details there. And there is also a Patreon page up and running, so you can all dive over there as well. So I think we're going to leave you with Carl Sagan and his speech about the Voyager 1, I suppose it was, wasn't it?
Yes, the pale blue dots.
Okay, cool. We'll close with that. And I would just like to say before the end, please leave quietly. This is a residential area.
From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest. But for us, it's different. Consider again that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by in our obscurity. Cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.